What's up, everyone? This is your host with the most, coming at you from coast to coast on another Friday, beautiful Friday evening, TGIF. Congratulations, everyone, for making it through another week, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We got, finally, and I was talking to Lindy backstage before the show, we've been always trying to make, different content to talk about because it's a dead time of the year when it gets from OTAs, gets over, and then you got to wait for that big gap between training camp starting. Training camp starting on Tuesday, I believe. So early birthday present for me. My birthday's on Wednesday, actually. So training camp Tuesday, training camp second practice Wednesday, my birthday Wednesday. So that's going to be amazing. We got a lot of stuff to discuss, though. So without further ado, let me get my co-host with the most, Lindy, in the house, dropping a dime. What's up, Lindy?
Another day about to be put in the books. A little chaotic on my end. Had some windows replaced in the house, and now the cleaning starts
take care of the house, man.
Yeah, it was long overdue. They were the original windows from the home, and they were single pane, got little borders in it and everything. They were just not in good shape anymore. So got them all out of there.
Well, that's good stuff, man. So good windows and everything. And the Eagles have a window of opportunity this season that we're going to be discussing later. So that's going to be exciting. So we got Randall in the building. What's up, Randall? What's up, Reaper? And what is up to my main man, Grizz? What's up, Grizz? So without further ado, how we start off the show every week, Eagle of the Week, Jason Avant. Jason Avant. And I was saying, and we were talking about this backstage before the show, Jason Avant's impact is bigger than what his stats that he was putting up. Because Jason Avant was like our third or fourth wide receiver most of the time. And then we also had Brent Selleck, Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Shady, and those times like he really wasn't the main guy whatsoever. But anytime there was a third down, anytime there was a play that we needed to go get a first down. Anytime there was a play we needed to go get a first down, for some reason, like, he was always making a catch. Like, he had sure hands. He was always in the right spot at the right moment. He was just, overall, just a really solid football player. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't great. He wasn't great at a lot of things, but he was just reliable. Just completely reliable, and it was awesome. It was awesome to have him on the team, having that veteran presence. My favorite thing that I've ever seen with Jason Avant was definitely against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2012. That's actually one of my favorite games of recent memory. Everyone talks about Nick Foles. Everyone talks about the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship, the 7-touchdown game in 2013. But that was my favorite performance of Nick Foles, leading that comeback against the Buccaneers. And in that game, Jason Avant actually made a one-handed catch where he reached back and he catch the ball. Like, everyone was hyping up when OBJ did it, and OBJ scored a touchdown on his. But don't disrespect Jason Avant, because Jason Avant was making the one-handed catches before OBJ was making them. So Jason Avant, just an overall reliable guy, and he was just really solid for us. So definitely enjoyed him when he was with the Eagles for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the the older Mr. Dependables of of our time growing up and watching the Eagles, and former 4th round pick in his own right out of 2006, and played for 3 different teams before he ended up retiring after about 9 years. I think he was only at least maybe 32, 33 when he called it quits. So, it's not like he was completely robbed of athleticism. And, when he left the game, and I remember back in 2018, he was qualifying in Philly for American Ninja Warrior. he was a part of that. Everyone was saying that, he could, he looked like he could still play in the NFL. And just the dependability that he had, on the field, much like the way we knew, Zach Ertz to Carson Wentz, that he was a security blanket for Carson. Well, Avant was in his own right a security blanket for a number of different quarterbacks. Whether it was playing for Whit McNabb or Nick Foles. Then he goes to Carolina and Kansas City. Everywhere he went, he contributed to a different level that statistics don't really show on the surface. And I say that because, well, my favorite moment has to be at Miracle in the Meadowlands #2. I don't think Deshaun has a good chance in scoring that touchdown if Jason did not lay his body on the line and put on one of the most disgusting blocks you will ever see, and he actually got concussed on that block. Like,
that was crazy.
Just to do something like that and put your body on the line the way that he did, it's stuff that it's stuff that doesn't go on the stat sheet. And when we talk about the intangibles of players, I mean that has to be at the top of the list.
Yeah, Jason Avant. I completely forgot about that, but that was definitely a good point. That was definitely a crucial block that he put on for Deshaun Jackson to get that punt return against the Giants. So yeah, Jason.
I even think it was a linebacker that he laid out too. I think it was number 51.
No, Jason Avant was not. He was not playing around with nobody. So let me actually see if I can.
He got bulldozed, man. That was so bad.
Let's actually pull up the Deshaun Jackson play, and we'll watch that real quick before we go to our next segment. Because, yeah, he did lay out like a really nasty block. What's going on, Raphael and AK? Appreciate you guys for stopping by right now. But, yeah, guys, we got a lot of stuff to get into tonight. We got training camp. We got training camp coming on Tuesday.
Thanks to Adobe
so
Pro
I'm really excited about that.
I'm able to search through
Adobe Pro.
So in all likelihood, Deshaun Jackson's going to at least get a return. Matt Dodge went to that glove on his hand because of fumbled snaps. The kickers worked out in the stadium here on Friday. Officials are getting together. Maybe a question about time left on the clock.
It's probably throwing everyone under the bus at least once.
We'll put 2 seconds back on. And Deshaun Jackson, who has averaged 14th best in the NFL, 8.7 yards per return, has not returned one for a touchdown this year. Waits. And it's a line drive kick. Jackson bobbles.
So you're going to see him towards the top of the screen here. About at this
81.
Moment.
Boom. Right there. It was right there. Hold on, we're gonna replay that.
Are you kidding?
I mean,
he laid him out, bro.
And if that's number 51 for the Giants there, that has to be a linebacker.
Jackson bobbles it and now has to try and recover.
I mean, this is disgusting.
Jackson.
Boom, right there.
Good night.
Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding?
Bro, he absolutely smoked him. He absolutely smoked him right there. That was crazy. That was something that you would see from somebody like Steve Smith. He just had the toughness factor. So Jason Avant, we definitely love Jason Avant. But when we get back, guys,
like that,
go ahead.
I'll tell you what, though, nothing like that is never injury worthy. But I think it warrants to say that he kind of.
It's a highlight reel will have forever, though. So I think it was probably worth it for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when we get back, guys, we are going to take a look at the new Eagles helmets. The Eagles have released their black helmets. We're going to give our thoughts and opinions on that when we get back from the break.
I'm running like my hair is on fire, and I don't intend to stop even when my legs grow tired. And I got a message from Colorado straight from Texas, captured most of me, just let me be.
So with the NFL officially allowing the teams to have multiple helmets, more than one color of helmet, the Eagles are going to be using their black helmets this season before next season they move on to having Kelly Green. Are they going to keep Midnight Green and Kelly Green? Seems possible. Are they going to keep? Are they going to go to Kelly Green being the main uniform? Maybe keeping the black ones? I don't know. Are they just doing this for a year? I don't know. But here is what the helmets turned out like. I actually really like the design. I mean, it looks literally just like our regular helmets, except they're black. With the all black uniforms, that'll definitely look really cool. But yeah, really interesting stuff, man. I'm really digging the black helmets, and I'm sure that they'll do something else. Like, you know how last year they started with the white jersey and the black pants. The black pants and the white jersey and the black helmet would actually also look really, really good. So I'm digging it. I'm loving it. I always thought it was the stupidest rule that you had the NFL saying, "Oh, we can't have multiple helmets because it's dangerous." Like, what are you talking about? It's dangerous. How is it dangerous? How is it a safety hazard? You have college football, for example. You have like University of Oregon. Devin Allen went to the University of Oregon, by the way. We're going to talk about him later in the show. They have like 27 jerseys or something and like 27 helmets. And you never hear somebody saying it's a safety hazard. But in the NFL, it's a safety hazard. That doesn't make any sense. That's why it was so stupid. And that's why I'm happy that not only the Eagles, but a lot of teams are actually having a chance to have more helmets, more colors, more uniforms, more designs. It's fun. It's cool. It's interesting. Instead of having the same crap every week. So I love it. I think it's cool. I think it's going to be great. And looking forward to seeing how they wear them during the season.
Yeah, I think it's how they went more with a a metallic look instead of a gloss that you can see the glitter a little bit, and in the coat of the paint. Yeah, it stands out. It stands out pretty damn good. So I'm personally excited about it. But this is probably a terrible analogy, but it's like you're complaining about the colors, so it's like when you register your car for insurance, and then they, your premium either goes up or down based on what color it is. So it's like they charge X amount for red. For whatever reason, insurance companies don't like red. That it's too much of a distraction on the road. Stuff like that. And when you apply it to college football and the NFL, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So.
No, it's very stupid. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But yeah, guys, black helmets, black jerseys, black pants. Gonna be exciting to go with, obviously the midnight greens and everything that we have right now. But exciting stuff, guys. I hope you guys are all looking forward to seeing the black helmets. But anyway, we got to talk about training camp now. Training camp starts July 26th. So that is on next Tuesday. So I actually had a chance to talk with Dave Spadaro, who's the biggest Eagles insider that you can get. By the way, very nice guy. He was very helpful with all the questions I asked him. So I'm actually gonna pull up what I have right here, what I was asking him. So I asked him all sorts of questions about. I asked him about Jalen Hurts. I asked him about Jalen Reagor. I asked him what he thought about, the receiver room being really crowded. I asked him about, different things about training camp. So really interesting stuff that he had to say. But if I had to say one thing, and I'm just going to play the clips right here that he said. This is what he had to say about training camp. Looking at training camp, one thing that I always like to say when it comes to training camp is, iron sharpens iron. So what about some competition between, some of these different positions? Are there any positional groups that people should be looking at and keeping an eye out on some of these competitions as we look to trim it down to that 53-man roster that's going to be ready?
It's a really good question. Okay, so we know that Jalen is the number one quarterback. We know Gardner Minshew's the number two quarterback. Is it going to be Reed Sinnett? Is it going to be Carson Strong? as the 3? Will the Eagles even carry 3? There's only 5 running backs here. And they're going to likely carry 4, maybe 5. They're going to add to that group. There's 12 wide receivers here. You usually carry 5 or 6, so who makes it, who doesn't make it? Jalen Reagor is not guaranteed anything. You go 1 through 4, and you've got Brown, Smith, Watkins, Pascal. Who's your 5th? If you have a 5th, who's your 6th? Is it going to be Greg Ward? Is it going to be Britton Covey? All these really good – there's a really good group of wide receivers here. I think the offensive line is loaded. So they'll keep 9 or 10 offensive linemen, and they'll keep some on the practice squad. I just think throughout the roster, James, they did a good job addressing areas. And in a span of 2 years here, the Eagles have really built up the roster from that tough 2020 season. I look at the defensive tackle position, and it is a great group with Fletcher and Hargrave and Milton Williams and now Jordan Davis. Terrific group. There's other players there who are good. I look at safety, and I go, okay, Anthony Harris, Marcus Epps, Jaquaski Tart. Who's your 4th? Who's your 4th cornerback? So the linebacker, who's going to start at the weak side position? Is it going to be Nakobe Dean, who I know fans love? I think Kaiser White's going to have something to say about that. The guy led the Chargers in tackles last year. And I think Davion Taylor really was making strides last year until he got hurt again. So that's 3 talented players for 1 position. So, I go up and down the roster. I look at all the positions, and I just think it's a talented group, and I just think there's going to be a lot of competition. Starting-wise, who's your starting right guard? Is it Sayamalo? Is it going to be Jack Driscoll? Are they going to slide Andre Dillard from tackle to guard? They'll probably take a look at all of these things. Who's going to be your starting weak side linebacker? Is it going to be, as I said, Dean, White, or Taylor? Who starts at safety now that Tart is here? So fun stuff to watch. And what's interesting is that there's only 3 preseason games, but there's, we're going out to Cleveland for a couple of days of practice against the Browns, going to Miami a couple of days of practice against the Dolphins ahead of those preseason games. So it'll really, really mean a lot. Even I'm sure they're not going to tackle. It's not like the old days of training. But those practices and the preseason games where I think the starters will probably rest a lot, those games are going to mean a ton to determine this 53-man roster and the practice squad. 17-game schedule. You better have a really strong practice squad and a strong emergency list because it's a long, long season.
Yeah, so absolutely. So that was really some interesting stuff that Dave had to say about all the training camp, all the competitions that we're going to have. So there's a lot of positions down the team that's going to be interesting. So 12 wide receivers on the roster, that's going to get trimmed down to like 5 or 6. And the biggest thing that stands out to me, what he said was, and I asked him about this later on in our little interview session about Jalen Reagor. He says he doesn't really feel that anything's guaranteed for him, even if he is a first-round pick. The team has their stance on Jalen Reagor. They've made it very clear publicly that they support him and they think he's very talented, but it's not guaranteed for him. So we're going to see how that plays out. We're going to see how the linebackers play out. Kaiser White, Nakobe Dean. Is Nakobe Dean going to be his starter in his first season? He might not be. He might still make an impact. He might still play, get a good amount of playing time, but as a starter, we'll see about that. I think Kaiser is going to show a lot of good stuff, but very interesting to see how these competitions are going to play out, Lindy. But do you have any thoughts on the competitions for upcoming training camp next week?
I think for the most part, with Dave Spadaro, offering his viewpoint on the whole thing, he's pretty close with a lot of it. The only one that I might have to push back on is the Will linebacker position. I don't believe the Eagles are going to put Nakobe Dean over there. To my knowledge, I think he predominantly played at the Mike at Georgia. He was very good there, having a good eye for surveying the field and taking the right defensive approach to the situation. He's a very good blitzer at that position. And in terms of and it kind of goes the same between the Will and the Sam linebacker spot. You need to have a sort of an explosiveness to your game. That's not necessarily what Nakobe possesses, but he's more about smarts of the position. He's very intelligent in how he approaches the game from a situational standpoint. So I believe that it would be of a better interest if they try him at the mic, cycle Nakobe between himself and TJ Edwards. I don't see a guy in Sean Bradley making that kind of jump because I think he's too valuable for special teams and what he provides in terms of that. But I don't know. Overall, I feel Dave was pretty spot on with a lot of what he talked about. What roster count rise was pretty close. I was in agreement with at least 4 running backs. Maybe, the maximum, maybe 3. 4 is not a stretch. Receiver is probably going to be 6. But, of course, being that nothing's guaranteed for Jalen Reagor right now, I just would not put it past Howie Roseman to keep, one of his selections on the roster just for, justification purposes and him not wanting to give up on failure.
That's bad business.
I mean, we've talked about this how many times now. We know this GM by now, and I think that's a part of why JJ Arcega-Whiteside's still here. It has been said at one time before that was more of a Jeffrey Lurie suggestion, and quote unquote, we'll air quote suggestion, because of course you have to imagine how he is feeling some sort of pressure that, if this is what the owner's looking at and this is what he wants, I don't want to go against his wishes, so I might as well select him, stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to the outlook on some of these skill positions in that regard. But no, Dave Spadaro offered a lot of insight, and I'm sure you were very appreciative of the opportunity, man. I
love Dave. Dave is Dave is a great guy. It's actually a funny story. I didn't reach out to Dave. I reached out to him like a month or so ago because I was actually have him be on our show, but the time constraints didn't work out. So he actually reached out to me a couple days ago and he was like, "Hey man, if you still wanted to do anything, then I would love to have a conversation with you." And I was like, "Oh, that's really nice of you." So we just set it up, and it was recorded. It wasn't live, so I just uploaded it to the channel. But if you guys want to watch the full interview, it is on my channel. We talked about all kinds of stuff. But yeah, we gotta talk about Derek Barnett. I'll take Derek Barnett on a multi-year contract than Jalen Reagor being here for one more year. Man, I don't know, man. I would rather is drinking bleach an option out of those two? If so, then pour me a glass because I don't know. But Derek Barnett,
what's the lesser evil?
I'm not tripping about. I was upset about Derek Barnett getting re-signed, but I really don't care anymore because I just don't see him getting that much time on the field unless there's injuries. That's the only scenario I can see him getting a lot of snaps. But Reddick is in the building now. Josh Sweat is going to be having a really good season this season. So I think those two are going to be playing the majority of the snaps of edge rusher wise. So I don't know about Derek Barnett doing anything, but hopefully he doesn't. The less he's on the field, the less opportunity he has to get a 15-yard penalty to help us get screwed over in a game. So hopefully it doesn't happen. I lost my train of thought there for a second. Dave, you're working with me, Dave. No, I'm not. Take out your knife. You're working with me.
I see why you're losing your train of thought
Joey's crazy.
sometimes.
Because Joey's trolling me. He's doing this on purpose to throw me off. But, yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's going to be fun, bro. But like I said, you guys can watch the full interview if you guys want to watch the full interview. So I want to talk about Jalen Hurts, though, because there were some comments made about Jalen Hurts. I think it was today or yesterday. I feel like we're always talking about comments on Jalen Hurts on this show. But it was John McMullen, who's another guy that covers the Eagles. He responded to Kyler Murray's contract extension, which Kyler Murray got an absurd extension. He got 5 years, $230 million, and $160 million guaranteed. So, Kyler Murray is not that good of a quarterback, but he got paid like all this money. And you have guys like John McMullen saying, Jalen Hurts will never reach the level of Kyler Murray. I think that's kind of ridiculous to say, because what has Kyler Murray really done in the league? He had everyone talks about Jalen Hurts' performance of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Kyler Murray was just as bad, if not worse, than Jalen Hurts against the Rams, who went on to win the Super Bowl. That was their divisional team that they know very well, and he had a brutal performance against them. And if you look at Kyler Murray's track record since he's been in the league, he has a tendency to start off the season very, very hot, and in the whole second half of the season, he does not play well. So you're going to say that, it's not like we're talking about someone like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or somebody like that. If you said that, I don't think that even if Jalen Hurts reaches ceiling, I don't think he can be as good as those. I wouldn't really have an issue with you saying that, because I think that those three guys are going to be, possibly elite quarterbacks in the future for a decade plus for the rest of their careers. Jalen, I think, could be very good. But, you're going to say Kyler Murray, he can't reach Kyler Murray's level. I mean, what level is Kyler Murray at right now? Is Kyler Murray elite quarterback? I don't think he's an elite quarterback. That's a ridiculous thing to say. And I think that if Jalen works hard and he gets better this season, I wouldn't actually be surprised if Jalen had a better season statistically wise than Kyler Murray. Because Kyler Murray, he always had, and the problem with Kyler, he always has so many excuses. This season, his excuse is going to be, oh, well, DeAndre Hopkins is suspended, so that's why he's not playing well. But he doesn't have that it factor. He doesn't have the intangibles like what Jalen Hurts has. I will take Jalen Hurts on my team to lead my team over Kyler Murray. Because Kyler Murray, I just don't think he has what it takes to lead a team. So I think it's kind of disrespectful to say that he can't reach his level. You could say that Kyler's more talented, sure, but how talented is he? He's a guy that has quick feet. He's got a pretty good arm. But Kyler is not that guy. He's not that guy. He's just a guy. So I don't really see what's the big deal of saying, Jalen Hurts can be as good as Kyler Murray. Because Kyler Murray's not that good of a quarterback. It's not like we're saying that he's going to be Josh Allen or somebody like I was saying.
I mean, what good is it to be more talented?
I completely agree, Joey.
What good is it to be more talented than somebody if you haven't displayed your full potential of talent? I mean, the Cards gave him, $46 million a year for a quarterback that is one game above 500. I
just don't think Kyler Murray's that good.
I'm pretty sure he's. I thought he was above 500. He's actually below 500. That makes it better. What a tie!
He's got 11,000 yards, 70 touchdowns, 34 interceptions, and he's 22-23-1 as a starter, and 0-1 in the playoffs. Thank you, Randall, for that.
Isn't this the same quarterback who pulled Carson Wentz by doing some sort of flip toss trying to prevent a safety and ends up being a pick six anyway? I forget what game that was, but Kyler,
he's just not. I mean, I'm not saying he's trash, but he's not that good. He's not that good. You're acting like Kyler Murray is an elite quarterback. You're acting like we're saying that he's going to be on Aaron Rodgers' level. We're not saying Jalen Hurts can be Aaron Rodgers. We're saying that, he can be a pretty good quarterback if he reaches ceiling. Just like Kyler Murray is a pretty good quarterback. But that's pretty much what he is. He's not going to be ever elite I don't think he's a guy that can lead your team to a Super Bowl. If he's in the right situation, has a lot of great players around him, it's possible you could win a Super Bowl with him. But he's not going to be the reason why you win. You see what I'm saying?
It has to be tough when you still have people saying that he should have picked baseball over football. I don't know. I mean, he was a top prospect for the Oakland A's when, he was selected and he decided to go into football instead. But, I don't know. I don't know, man. Of course, he can't control how tall or short he is, much like Hurts can't. But, he still has issues that have plagued him since college. He has a hard time of throwing over the middle because he just can't see over bigger defensive linemen. I believe he has a hard time in throwing to either his left or his right side. There's times where he's not careful with the football. I think there was occasions where he has taken too many sacks, and now you're going into a year where like you said, he's not going to have DeAndre Hopkins for about almost a third of the season for one, and then take of it what you will, but Christian Kirk's not there anymore, and he got overpaid by Jacksonville, and so he's not going to have.
Traded for Marquise Brown, his teammate from Oklahoma. So
I don't know how much stock I'm going to put into.
I mean, if he doesn't, his weapons are not trash. So even if he doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins,
sure.
I really don't want to hear anything. You have Rondell Moore. You have
right. Yeah,
Brown, like I said, you still have Ertz. You have good players. So if he starts off the season and everyone says, "Oh, look at Kyler, he's an MVP candidate," and then he completely disappears and does a vanishing act in the second half, then I don't really know what I'm saying here. That's why I have an issue with it. I have an issue because of who it is that they're making the comparison with. They're saying that Jalen Hurts could not reach his level, but how far above Jalen Hurts is he, even right now? Probably not that much. I think that Jalen, if he closed the gap this season, you could argue that he could have a better season than Kyler this year. I actually really wouldn't be surprised if that happened whatsoever. But we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out. But I think it's every week there's something else about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts can't do this. Everything is focusing on what Jalen Hurts can't do. I haven't heard anyone this whole season, the whole offseason, say anything positive about some of the things that Jalen Hurts can do. Everybody is putting a microscope on what he can't do. And I don't think it bothers him, actually. I think he's very much unbothered by it. So all these things that people continue to say, you had Derek Gunn that was saying, oh, he had a shitty practice. He wasn't looking good. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, they weren't even pass rushing him. And you're saying that he was taking sacks and fumbling and throwing interception. Like, what are you even doing right here? And then, he can't reach Kyler Murray's level. Every week, it's going to be something else until the season starts and we can see him actually play and show everybody what he can do. So it's kind of crazy that every week we're having this conversation, but it is what it is. And I think Jalen Hurts is the type of guy that doesn't get bothered by it, that doesn't let the criticism get to his head like someone else that used to wear the green jersey for us, that I'm not going to say his name, but you know what I'm talking about. So it doesn't affect him. He's going to work his butt off, and we're going to see the best product that he can put this season. I'm excited to see it.
How much would you put on Cliff Kingsbury for Kyler's struggles? Because he's kept this track record since college.
Well,
they start off strong. They have multiple.
They said he would be great with that college system and stuff. Like that college system.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
doesn't really that kind of system doesn't really work as well with the NFL. We saw it fail with Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was running the run and gun, the spread offense, and he tried to revolutionize the NFL, and it didn't work. So you have to have a balanced offense. You can't just be trying to do an air raid offense in the NFL. It's not going to work. But they said that he was the greatest coach for Kyler. So, I don't really Kyler has so many excuses. It's the coach. It's last season DeAndre Hopkins was injured. This season DeAndre Hopkins is suspended. I just don't know where it's going to end with this guy. He started off the season as the MVP candidate, and he completely disappeared. And you're going to say Jalen Hurts cannot reach his level. I just think that's stupid.
At least we know Hurts isn't going to be a big crybaby about his money.
No, I don't think Jalen.
At least we know
Hurts
that.
getting and there's a lot of people in the comment section talking about Jalen Hurts' contract extension. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the type of guy that's going to. I mean, obviously he's going to look out for himself, but I don't think he's the type of guy that's going to say, you better give me like 45, 50 million a year, or I'm not going to earn, or I'm not going to play. What has he shown us that shows that he will be that type of guy that's going to like sit out of camp and no, that's not what he's going to do. If he's going to be a professional, he's going to do his thing, and I think that he'll be reasonable. He'll obviously want to get paid, but I think if it comes to it, he'll be reasonable. I don't think he's going to make an outlandish demand that's going to hurt the team. I think he's I think he's a team guy. I think he's a team player. So I don't see him making these kind of demands.
If I personally have to throw a number out there in terms of annual value as to what I think at this point in time is fair for Jalen Hurts, I would have to say about 38 a year would be a good starting point, and then you can negotiate from there. But I wouldn't go any higher than 40. My safe number would be about 38 million, but I'd probably be a little more comfortable with 36.
If they offered Jalen 35, I think he would take it.
Well, like I said, Carson, of course, this was a different time. I mean, this was how many years ago, but Carson, after that miraculous year that he had, and this is the number 2 pick in his draft class, he got 34 million a year. So, because the market is the way it is right now, and Kyler completely blew it up, the way that he did after crying about it. That's why I would put it a little bit more, I guess, to satisfy the marketing position of where, of what kind of money quarterbacks are getting right now. But like I said, I would not go more than 40 with him. At the very most, I would give him 38, but a better number would be about 36.
Okay. Well, I mean, the problem with the contracts in the NFL, and I think we talked about this last week, is the quarterback market, it's just broken right now. It's just broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we used to say that back in the day, like 10, 12 years ago, we would say that $100 million, if you get a guy $100 million, then that was a lot of money. That was considered a lot. Now that's not considered anything, giving somebody $100 million. I mean, getting $100 million guaranteed isn't even considered a lot. I mean, Kyler got $160 guaranteed. Deshaun Watson got like $230 guaranteed. So it's absolutely insane. I think that Deshaun Watson was the biggest domino that has led to this, where you're going to see quarterbacks getting more and more money. I mean, the Kyler Murray is the next domino that's going to fall. The next domino that's going to fall after this is going to be Lamar Jackson. If you're asking me, that it's not even close. It's not even close. Lamar is so much far above Kyler Murray. I mean, he's won a playoff game. He has won a league MVP. He's led the league in passing touchdowns. He's an electrifying playmaker. So the Ravens have an issue on their hands, I think, because they're going to have to pay Lamar more than Kyler. And I don't think Kyler is worth what Arizona paid him. Arizona probably should have waited another year to see what Kyler can do. Can you win a playoff game? Can you actually be a good leader of this team? And he wasn't. So the market is broken right now. I don't know what's going to happen when it comes for Jalen Hurts, but I don't think he cares about it right now. I really think that's the last thing that he's thinking about. He's got to prove himself this season and show that he can be the franchise quarterback of the team. which a lot of people don't seem to think that he can do. And as I said, I think that he's the type of guy that these things make him better as a player. It helps him rise to a new level. So I don't think he's caring about the money right now. So we'll just have to see how everything plays out. But it's going to be interesting if the time ever does come.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. That's absolutely fair. Nobody is paying Hurts for his mentality. I mean, that's that's why it's
we're not saying
tangibles
pay
over
Jalen Hurts right now.
that's why it's tangibles over intangibles in the first place. But when you boil it down, well, the organization is they're gonna have to look at it this way. They're going to want to find as good of a balance as they possibly can between market and production. Of course, the production in that case is going to overtake the market, but not only does the franchise have to satisfy the player contractually, they also have to satisfy his agent. So they're really trying to sell two entities instead of just one. Because of course, with Hurts having an agent, that's his representation, and I don't remember his agent's name, but you get where I'm going with that.
Nicole Lynn.
Yeah, well, there you go. But overall, the Eagles just have to find a good balance between market and production, and I think that's where I feel production is going to be the majority of their decision making, much like it is for the majority of other quarterbacks in the NFL. No matter what we think of Murray's contract or whoever else you want to throw in there, I mean, yeah, Patrick Mahomes got a lot of money, but that is one of the most team-friendly deals. That's one of the most team-friendly deals, right now on a contract basis in the NFL when it comes to quarterbacks. So at that point, it doesn't matter how much money he got because of how team-friendly it is. So that is out of the way. The other thing I want to get out of the way is at least Kyler Murray takes shots downfield. He goes down gunning. I think we need to stop with this misconception that Hurts does not have a deep ball, because if you watched him play last year, he's shown examples in the 49ers game. He showed examples in the Kansas City game. He showed examples in the Broncos game. I think he had a intermediate to deep ball type of pass in the Raiders game. There's plenty of examples of Hurts showing his ability to throw the deep ball. The difference is that we can't make it a generalized statement and say, well, at least so-and-so takes shots downfield. It's all about whether
it's all narratives.
Yeah, it's narrative based for one, and two, it's about how can I put this? Whether it's an errant throw that's a bad decision, or Hurts picks and chooses his opportunities to take those shots. And a lot of times Kyler is more risk than he is smart and conservative. And I think that's where this narrative is creative, just because Hurts isn't willing to just chuck it down the field like Carson used to do a lot when he's improvising in the pocket when the play's completely broken down, and he'll just try and throw a bullet and force one of his receivers open. So
we don't need Jalen Hurts to force stuff down the field.
That's my point. So, to say at least so-and-so takes shots down the field, that's just a I don't know. That's an ignorant take to me. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, everyone wants to see the big plays, so I think that's like where he's trying to come from. But
sure, yeah,
you cannot force big plays. And you mentioned Carson Wentz. That's the biggest problem with Carson Wentz. He wanted every play to be the biggest play, yet he wouldn't.
That's the type of quarterback he is. Yes,
he wouldn't take anything that the defense was given to him. Sometimes, if you're playing quarterback, you got to be. The reason why I see these guys are so great for years and years and years. Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, all those type of quarterbacks. The reason why they're like so consistently great is not because they're just making the big throws. They make the big throws when they have to make the big throws, but they're picking you apart. If you leave some zone coverage, and you leave guys wide open and giving them a free release, they're going to take that all day. They're going to take those 5-7 yard passes all day, and they're going to go bam, bam, bam. They're going to go down the field on you on a surgical scoring drive. So that's how you become efficient and successful as the quarterback position. It's not just by, making these big type of throws. That's why I think Patrick Mahomes needs to do to take himself to the next level. Patrick Mahomes is one of the most exciting players to watch, but if he can reach that level of like a Tom Brady or like an Aaron Rodgers when they're, not always, trying to throw the deep bomb down the field, just like picking you apart, then Patrick Mahomes is going to go to the next level. So that is a very important part of the quarterback's game that people don't really talk about as much, because as a fans, everyone wants to see the big, exciting plays. They want to see the 75, 85-yard touchdowns and stuff. But you got to play the position the way it's supposed to be played. You got to be smart.
Johnny, I guarantee you not a single quarterback in next year's draft is going to come in better than Jalen Hurts as a rookie. I guarantee you that. We can't be saying stuff just to say stuff. I mean, when you talk about deep balls, there's a difference in throwing to somebody that's open and throwing somebody open. Hurts is more along the lines of trying to throw to somebody that's open because, everyone wants to make it a spiel that, Hurts doesn't have any arm strength when, clear examples are, that touch ball that he threw to Devontae Smith against Patrick Surtain in the Broncos game, or, thrown a couple of beautiful passes to Quez Watkins, one in the Carolina Panthers game, and then the one that he had in the 49ers game. Hurts has the ability.
Make throws, man. Like the narrative that Jalen Hurts can make throws is the most stupidest narrative that I've heard.
It's you're not watching the games. That's what it boils down to. You're just not watching the games.
Whew. Yep. Well, it's getting really spicy up in here. So let's take another short commercial break, and then when we get back, we're going to talk about how Devin Allen got robbed at his. We're going to talk about how he got robbed at his race. So when we get back, we will discuss that.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Make sure you guys check out the links in the description. If you guys use the link down there below on your next purchase, it would really help us out as well. So, Devin Allen.
Man, sorry, Jim. But
go ahead.
I was about to say, if I didn't see a single one of my teams on that commercial, I've been like, come on, man. At least the Eagles were in there. I'm waiting for my Braves. I'm waiting for my Mavs. Come on, don't do me like that.
The only thing I noticed was the MB jersey, but definitely check out the stuff in the description down below. But I was saying,
right. Yep.
They said that Devin Allen got disqualified because he ran like 1/1000th of a second before the gun got shot. So that was one of the most stupidest things that I've seen with Devin Allen. I mean, it didn't even look like he jumped off sides. But I guess the replay stuff is like super, super, super sensitive that they flagged him for it. So that was the most insane thing that I've ever seen. He got disqualified. So I hate it for him. He probably would have easily won the race if that never happened.
1/1000th of a second. And what did everybody do after that? Oh, it's because he's a Philadelphia Eagle. Of course. That's no. But seriously, I mean, what? I don't know. It always goes that way. I just find it funny, but no, I mean, it is what it is, man. But I still. It's just quite fascinating how fast he still is. But the biggest thing. the biggest thing with him, if he ends up becoming the favorite, between Devon and Britton Covey as well, and I think I've said this in a previous episode on LinkedIn here is, well, they can be as explosive on special teams as they want, but they're going to have to contribute offensively too. Depending how many receivers the Eagles decide to keep on the 53, if it ends up being one of them, well, they're going to have to contribute in some capacity on offense, to be able to, see them on special teams. Like the team, the coaches have to know that.
At least a little bit.
Know that, what routes can you run? Can you do them consistently? Are you efficient? Are you in good timing with the quarterback? Just all those nuances that go into playing the position. They're going to have, you're going to want to see that as much as their explosive speed. So that's what it's going to ultimately come down to.
So yeah, I feel really bad for him, but that sucks. That really does suck for him.
It was even a close finish.
He's one of the most intriguing players that I'm looking forward to seeing because
I
really think that he can be our punt returner. I think that's the reason. I don't think they would have brought him in if they didn't really think that he would be a good fit at that position because our special teams unit has been kind of trash, for the last few years. We haven't had a good kickoff returner. We need to get a guy that can get us set up, get us good field position, get us the ball on like the 45, 50-yard line to start the drive, and then, go try to get some easy points, try to make our job easier. But special teams has been a disaster. It was a disaster last season. Jalen Reagor fumbling the ball. He had several muff punts last season. Just wasn't good as a special teamer, wasn't good as a receiver. Previously, they had Greg Ward. I don't even know why they would have Greg Ward back there. Greg Ward is not really the fastest guy in the first place. So it never made any sense that they were doing that. So I gotta wonder, bringing in guys like Britton Covey, bringing in guys like Devon Allen, there has to be a reason that they're doing this because obviously as much as you said, they got to make some impact as a receiver. I agree with that, at least a little bit. But, they're not going to see the field very much as a receiver with the guys that we have, with AJ, with Devontae, with Fred, with Pascal. They're not going to get time on the field. So the reason they were brought in was so we could have a difference maker at that position. Devon Allen is the biggest name in training camp that I'm going to be paying attention to because I want to see what he does, especially in some of these preseason games and things like that, to see if he can, have a good return or take a touchdown back even. If he does that, then I think that'll show me that he can be the guy to be that special team difference maker that we've been looking for.
Yeah, there's also a benefit to it to which, obviously the depth of the receiver position is going to be larger than running backs. So being that I don't think the Eagles are going to want to be in a position to subject running backs to special teams. Well, that I think it's a telltale as to why we have, two of those guys in the receiver room between Britton and Devon. So, I don't know if they're going to want to take another chance in putting Jason Huntley back there or Boston Scott or, I doubt I see Kenny Gainwell back there or any or anything of that regard. Nor do I want to see Greg Ward just wave every single time, wave it off.
But I love my boy Greg Ward, but nah, fam, like you can't have him back there returning points. That's my guy though. Yeah. I love Greg Ward.
Yeah. And I think the Eagles had what was it? Marcus Jones out of Houston for a top 30 visit. So another alum from Greg's college before he converted to receiver because he was that
Greg Ward was such a good college quarterback though. He was a Heisman candidate. I think he finished third. I think it was I think it was Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts and Greg Ward that season in 2019. But I like Greg Ward. I think he's kind of on the bubble. I don't know if he will make the final roster. It will be very interesting, but it's gonna be something to watch out for. But I love my man Greg Ward. But anyway, guys, we're kind of coming up to the end of the show here. We appreciate everybody that was able to stop by and enjoy the show. Enjoyed having all you guys that were chiming in with the comment section. Jeremiah, Grizz, you guys are regulars all the time. Randall, you're regular all the time. Reaper, Joey Shakes, you guys are amazing. You guys are the best. And we will be looking forward to making more episodes and talking about what's to come with training camp starting next week. But Lindy, would you like to let anyone know any of the stuff you're working on before we sign off for the night?
Nothing necessarily at the moment. The weekend is going to be a little bit hectic after the windows being put in the home. Got some cleaning to do, a couple of other things in between. But Touchdown Talk has been revived in a pretty strong way with having Philly 500 on there. Joey paid a visit. We revisited episode 13 that we did. So. I'm only a couple of episodes away from introducing content creators, hopefully from not just the NFC East, but other teams, to get some intel in there. We're approaching episode 20, so I'm getting pretty excited about that.
Absolutely, guys. So, like I said, appreciate everyone that was able to step in and watch the show tonight. We are live every Friday at the same time, 8 o'clock Eastern, covering the Eagles, covering all the news and things of that nature. But with that being said, guys, we appreciate you guys, love you guys, and we will see you on the next episode.